Part 1. Understanding why Tupperware matters. Let us begin with a simple question: why should we study Tupperware at all? On the surface, it looks like a company that sells food storage containers and household products. Yet when we examine it more carefully, we find something much more valuable for business learning. Tupperware is a strong example of how a company can build an iconic brand through a smart business model, and then struggle when that same model stops matching the market. For decades, Tupperware was associated with durability, kitchen organization, food freshness, and a highly distinctive direct selling system. The company did not rely only on products sitting on store shelves. Instead, it built a business around consultants, demonstrations, and social selling through home parties. That gave customers a reason not only to buy, but also to trust. In practical terms, Tupperware turned a simple household container into a branded experience. This is exactly why Business Model Canvas is useful here. A company's success is rarely explained by product quality alone. We need to understand who it serves, what value it offers, how it reaches customers, how it builds relationships, how it earns money, and what resources, partnerships, and costs hold everything together. Tupperware is a very useful case because its rise and decline were both driven by those interconnected elements. A practical example makes this clearer. Imagine a customer in the 1990s attending a Tupperware party at a friend's house. She sees the product demonstrated live, learns how it keeps food fresh, hears positive feedback from people she knows, and buys on the spot. That is not just product marketing. That is a complete business model working effectively. As we move into the next part, keep one key idea in mind: Tupperware did not become powerful by accident. Its strength came from alignment between product, channel, and customer behavior. The important question is what happened when that alignment started to break. Part 2. How Tupperware built a strong business model. Now let us look at how Tupperware originally built competitive strength. At its core, the company operated a branded housewares model built on trusted products and relationship-led selling. It sold food storage, preparation tools, serving products, and related kitchen solutions. However, the real differentiator was not only what it sold. The real differentiator was how it sold. Start with customer segments. Tupperware served households, families, practical kitchen users, home organizers, and gift buyers. It also relied heavily on consultants, who were not just sellers but also part of the commercial ecosystem. This was powerful because one side of the model created consumer demand while the other side extended reach through personal networks. Next, consider the value proposition. Tupperware stood for durability, reusability, freshness preservation, convenience, and brand trust. Customers were not only buying plastic containers. They were buying reliability, order, and confidence in daily household use. Consultants, meanwhile, were offered an earning opportunity, which expanded participation in the model. Channels and customer relationships reinforced this advantage. The company used consultants, home parties, and later digital touchpoints and selected retail channels. Relationships were built through personal selling, live demonstrations, and repeated household use. That made Tupperware more than a transaction. It became part of a customer's everyday routine. Think of a simple business lesson here. Many brands try to win through advertising alone. Tupperware won through demonstration and trust. A customer could touch the product, ask questions, and understand the benefit immediately. That reduced hesitation and supported premium pricing. Resources and activities then completed the model. The brand, product design know-how, consultant network, and manufacturing capability all supported growth. At the same time, the company focused on designing practical products, maintaining quality, supporting consultants, and executing sales campaigns. In the next part, we will examine why this strong model became less effective. That is where the strategic lesson becomes even more useful. Part 3, where the model started to weaken. A good business model can remain strong for years, but no model stays effective forever unless it evolves with the market. This is where Tupperware becomes especially instructive. The company's historic formula worked extremely well in a pre-digital environment, yet consumer behavior changed much faster than the business adapted. Let us begin with channels. The direct selling model was once a major strength because it created trust and product education. Over time, however, consumers shifted toward e-commerce, fast delivery, easy price comparison, and broader retail convenience. Younger buyers increasingly preferred discovering products through online search, marketplaces, influencers, and social media instead of attending in-home selling events. As that happened, Tupperware's traditional channel system lost part of its relevance. Customer relationships also changed. Historically, a consultant could build loyalty through human interaction and familiarity. Later, those relationship dynamics became less distinctive because digital communities, creator content, and online reviews started shaping purchase decisions. When that happened, Tupperware could no longer rely on party-based engagement to defend its premium position as effectively as before. Value proposition drift was another issue. Tupperware still had credible strengths such as durability and practicality, but competitors introduced lower prices, wider access, fresher aesthetics, and stronger sustainability messaging. The result was not that Tupperware stopped offering value. The real issue was that its value stopped feeling as unique. Revenue concentration made matters worse. Too much of the company's income remained tied to the traditional consultant-led sales engine. Once that engine slowed, the business did not have enough diversified growth channels to absorb the decline quickly. Costs then became harder to manage because manufacturing, logistics, incentives, and overhead remained significant even as momentum weakened. A practical example would be a legacy education company that once sold mostly through classroom seminars. If the market shifts to online learning and the company adapts too slowly, it may still have good content, but its route to market becomes less competitive. That is very similar to what happened here. In the next part, we will connect this weakening model to the company's bankruptcy and look at the deeper strategic implications. Part 4: Why Tupperware filed for bankruptcy. At this stage, we can ask the most important question: why did Tupperware file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2024? The answer is not that the company suddenly had a useless product. The deeper answer is that too many parts of the business model weakened at the same time. First, channels became misaligned with market behavior. Tupperware remained too dependent on legacy direct selling while consumers increasingly wanted digital-first access and stronger retail convenience. Second, customer relationships lost some of their historical power because younger buyers no longer responded as strongly to the traditional party model. Third, the value proposition remained respectable but was not refreshed quickly enough to stand out against modern competitors. Revenue streams then became more vulnerable because the company still depended heavily on a declining core sales engine. At the same time, the cost structure stayed under pressure. Manufacturing, logistics, sales incentives, technology, and organizational overhead all required funding, while financial strain reduced flexibility. Once debt burden, operating pressure, and the need for transformation collided, the company had less room to reinvest and less space to recover. This is why bankruptcy should be understood as a business model problem rather than only a financial event. Finance reflects what is happening underneath. When channels weaken, relationships soften, value becomes less differentiated, and revenues are too concentrated, financial distress eventually follows. There is also an important value proposition canvas lesson here. Customers still wanted practical food storage, organized kitchens, durable products, and trusted quality. Tupperware still addressed many of those jobs, pains, and gains. The trouble was that competitors started delivering similar benefits with greater convenience, stronger retail presence, and more modern communication. In other words, the fit between customer needs and Tupperware's delivery system became less compelling. As we move to the final part, the key question changes from what went wrong to what managers and entrepreneurs can learn from this case. Part 5: Strategic Lessons for Business Leaders. The final lesson from Tupperware is not simply that legacy brands are fragile. The deeper lesson is that strong brands fail when management assumes past success will continue without active renewal. Tupperware remains a useful case because it shows both the power of strategic fit and the cost of losing it. The first lesson is that brand strength should never replace adaptation. A well-known name may create awareness, but awareness alone does not guarantee relevance. Companies must keep refreshing their channels, customer engagement methods, and product communication before market shifts become structural problems. The second lesson is to avoid overdependence on one legacy engine. Tupperware relied too heavily on consultant-led direct selling for too long. A healthier model would have balanced direct selling with stronger e-commerce, marketplace visibility, selective retail partnerships, and modern social commerce. In practical terms, diversification is not only about revenue growth. It is also about resilience. The third lesson is that the value proposition must remain current. Product quality and heritage are important, but customers also respond to convenience, design relevance, affordability, and sustainability cues. A company can still be trusted and yet feel outdated. That is a dangerous position because it weakens competitive sharpness without fully destroying awareness. The fourth lesson is financial discipline. Businesses undergoing transformation need room to invest, test, and adjust. If the cost structure is too rigid and the balance sheet is too strained, management loses flexibility at the exact moment flexibility matters most. A practical takeaway for managers is this: review your business model regularly, not only your sales figures. Ask whether your target customers are changing, whether your channels still match buying behavior, whether your value proposition still feels distinctive, and whether your cost structure allows adaptation. Those questions can help prevent slow strategic decline. That is why Tupperware remains such a valuable business case. It shows that a business model succeeds when its parts reinforce one another, and it weakens when those parts stop fitting the market. The main objective for leaders is therefore not only to build a strong model, but to keep renewing it before the market forces renewal on them.